Welcome back to the channel, folks. Thank you for joining another comparison video here on Factor of Games. What we're going to take a look at today is Resident Evil 7 on the OLED and the LCD models. So we'll see kind of the difference here. Jump right in. There's nothing special. I mean, these games have become really optimized. So there's nothing that you have to do. Just go down into properties. You can leave all of your protons alone, and the control scheme is there. Performance again has been optimized. There is a little, I believe it's with Fmod video, you'll see it looks like Conrad or something like that with a picture-in-picture window of static. It's something that had plagued the original Resident Evil games, like Resident Evil 0 and the original Resident Evil HD remake. I think that's what they call it. And they have Fmod in it, which I believe is what the video codec is, and it causes some problems. So it's here just for the first screen. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Hopefully it'll show. I know it'll show on the OLED. I think there it is, right there. I don't know why it doesn't show on the LCD model. I don't think it does. It's really strange. Just all these little bugs, things like that you run into, and issues that not necessarily plague your Linux games or your Linux OS with the games running on them, but yeah, it's just a little bit here and there, some weird stuff. So we're going to jump in. Let's get through this here. We'll take a look at the game settings. Now, I've optimized each game as best possible to get them close to locked max frame rates for them. 90 frames per second on the OLED, 60 frames per second on the LCD. Go down to graphics here. Might be a little strained because of the way it is set up with tougher to read text, I believe it is, but it doesn't look too bad. And if we highlight it, it's a little bit easier to see. So 1280 by 800, 90 hertz, 60 hertz refresh rates, no ray tracing. Everything's on full screen. We go down a little bit further. Now, we do have FSR 1.0 running on both, and it's set to ultra quality. If you look at the settings here, high settings, very high settings. We don't have to go as far to get the 60 frames per second on the LCD, but getting 90, we have to kind of keep it down to high, and it'll fluctuate like by a frame or two. If I was to go very high on the OLED, you'd be looking at probably 85 frames per second FPS kind of thing on the OLED. So we go down, got everything set to, I think, pretty much the high settings, low settings. Actually, this one's set to variable low lighting. I'm going to put that to high. I think it got screwed up. And then on the LCD, yep, everything else is set to as high as it can go. Very high on LCD, high settings on the OLED. So let's jump in and take a look. We're going to start at the beginning of the game, just for the fact that it's easier for me to control both devices at the very beginning. And we'll do easy, just in case we do get into a fight. And we can skip, kind of the beginning. Oh, see, this one's doing the Fmod kind of video now for where it should be showing her on the screen. I don't know why. Just some weird stuff. We'll see if we can skip. We may have to watch this one. I don't know. I've never tried to skip it. Yeah, I think we might have to watch it. Or wait for it to run. But yeah, very strange why the LCD does this in this instance and the OLED does not. But the OLED caught something weird right before the game started and the LCD didn't. Again, some strange stuff. Here we get introduced to Ethan for the first time. Ethan's looking at Conrad or whatever it's called. Yeah, that's so strange. It's the video that's playing inside, which is normal. Again,
You were right.
we've seen this before with Resident Evil
I
games,
shouldn't have.
but usually the older ones, not so much the newer ones. Resident Evil 8,
You get this.
no problems at all. As far as I know, there's nothing like that.
Stay away.
Let's see if we can get to the driving section. So we may have some more of that here where we're showing Ethan driving. I'll try to... I thought we could skip through some of it. No,
Hey, it's
looks like it's fine
it's
there. Can we skip?
You alright? You just disappeared the other night.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's
Still
me.
can't skip. Okay.
She's not dead. She's alive.
Our battery
She's
consumption, roughly the same right now. Even though we're getting
don't-
90 frames per second here,
I don't
60
know
frames
how,
per second on
but
the
she's back.
LCD,
She's back somehow.
we're still seeing, you know, kind of the
Maybe it's a
efficiency of that
prank.
chipset.
She wants me to come
Keep
get
the
her.
watt
Where is she?
the watt
Don't-
consumption below, or the
don't
power
worry, it's
consumption below what the LCD
I know,
does.
I know.
Just
It
slightly,
is her.
but still
I
below,
have to find out. what
which
happened.
does help with the, you know, the overall. Look at this. Look at the. Wow, that's kind of nuts. Anything within a frame, it looks like within the game, the frame of the windshield or whatever. Yeah, look around. Look at what. It'll be fine. Once we're done here, it clears right up. So now we're in engine, I think, not the pre-rendered video or whatever you'd want to call it.
This is the place.
Network has been lost. That's fine. I have to have one of these offline when the other one is online. So you can see 60 frames per second down here. As things stabilize on the OLED, now we're getting into we're still seeing 80s, 85, 87. But as we get into the buildings, we'll see closer to 90 steady. There we go. Still getting reflections. Now we're not using ray tracing as we had said. If you wanted to, and you can see the power consumption, it is taking a bit to run this at 60. We're basically capping out pretty close to the highest power consumption that we can on the LCD. The OLED, again, still kind of hovers in that 22 watts range, 23, because it's a little bit more efficient. We talk about this all the time, but smaller chipset, you know, more efficient, newer advantage. Let's see here. We got to get up to the walkway. There we go. Now we're pretty much in the same area. I'm not really going to run because it's difficult and I'm afraid it would move the machines. But yeah, now we can see 90. There's our van. Let's go up and check with that. A and A. This was if you remember the demo that they had put out, where it was the three guys doing some filming for a haunted house. Well, that is their van that they never got back to. We'll just kind of work our way through here. We'll work our way into the original first house, the guest house, I guess it is. Up there's old Dad. But if we can get in there, we'll see some indoor footage as well. Again, reason I hesitate to do some of this is because it's tough to fight when your buttons are underneath and you have to use those to shoot or something like that. Makes it a little bit more difficult to film these side-by-side comparisons. But if you want, you can check the channel. There's plenty of footage of the gameplay on both devices. Just look up Resident Evil 7 under the search bar for Factor of Games, and you will definitely find it. So I think I've got to press down here. Yep. Got to work my way through. I got lost on my bottom one here. There we go. Stand up again. We're standing on the top one. There we go. And again, battery consumption reasonable for this game. You know, these are actually pretty decent games in my opinion. I mean, they're obviously AAA games, and you're able to get probably 2-ish hours out of the LCD and probably close to 3 on the OLED. So very, very good performance for the games. Now they are older. It is an older game, but it is still one of the more impressive survival horror games out there. Oh, we can grab this purse. I'm not getting there we go, the indicator. Now we need to rotate. There it is. That's our wife. I don't know why that one, it's trying to reach out for something. Maybe it's trying to look at if I've received the achievement or something like that. Again, it doesn't really matter here for the comparison video, but normally I would play each game online the entire time. But it shows that you don't have to have it online. There. Now are we in the house? Oops. There it is. Okay. Now we've made it inside. And now we've got our flashlight running, so we see a little bit different volumetric lighting, a little bit different usage of the graphics or the GPU. Let's keep going past the table, all the disgusting stuff, and we'll work our way into the water level. I think that'll probably give us a better idea. There we go. We should just be able to go straight to it. Oh, I missed it. There we go. We're not going to play any of the VCR tapes or anything because that's probably going to cause that weird video issue. There we go. And if we look up, we should see the item to pull. Yep. We'll release that and then we'll get into the water level. And I think we'll call it good there at that point because we're seeing a good bit of like what the game offers in terms of, you know, the graphics. A lot of it's indoors. It's kind of a corridor shooter. Now, obviously, there are some areas where there's bigger enemies, bosses, stuff like that. We could have variations in it, but the game isn't it's completely playable on both devices. So there's no concern with that. And you might have to adjust some of the settings here or there if you really want to hold 60. Now, I would probably not worry about 90 so much on the device. I would probably worry about like just having it locked at 60 on the OLED. And at that point, you're going to get even better performance on the OLED out of this device, or out of this game. We'll get into the water here. Again, a little bit different, but not too much. We're seeing a little bit more draw on the OLED now versus the LCD because we're trying to hold that 90 frames per second instead of 60. But again, if you limit it to 60, you're really not going to have to worry. Let Ethan kind of work his way through here. I don't want to get too screwed up. There we go. Something's bubbling. And yeah, you can see almost 3 hours still on this, and that's not even fully charged. you're going to get some fluctuations. But at 60, I think you would be well above 3 hours. Oh, that dead body won't get out of the way. Game looks great though. Looks good on this device. Runs really well. I think overall you're going to have a great experience. So I think I'll call it good here. In terms of, like I said, other video footage of it, you can find more on Resident Evil 7 on the channel. Just look up Resident Evil 7 and it'll bring up for, I think, the Legion Go, the ROG Ally, the OLED, as well as the LCD model. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, come back, enjoy the daily voting where we can vote on what games will be shown on the Weekly Factor, which is the live stream show. That's actually happening tonight if you're watching this video. I think this will go up before it, or it may come after it. But it is every Saturday. I put up a daily poll for 4 games. You vote on one of the 4, and then that one moves forward, and we get out of Monday through Friday 5 games to showcase on Saturday's show. Also, if you enjoyed this, click the like button. Definitely leave a comment on your favorite Resident Evil. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks again, folks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.